Hello, class. Welcome to Module 7. I just want to give you a quick review of my solution to the dashboard for Project 2. And hopefully this will get you going. Now, they've provided, in addition to a lot of good reading material, they've provided um, an example, a sample dashboard that already contains the pie chart. You just have to hook it up in the callback. And of course, you already have your table and your connection to the database through your CRUD class from our milestone in Module 6. And you have a lot of this functionality in place already if you've successfully accomplished the work in Module 6. You know, you've got your map with the pinpoint for the selected row, for the animal in the selected row. Of course, you won't have your pie chart yet in place, or this image of the Grazioso Salvare logo. But that image has been provided. You know, I'll show you, and it's in my announcement too. But what I did, let's take a look at the code. But this is my finished product for Project 2. And as you can see, it has radio buttons up here with different types. Now, what you've been asked to do is provide some software for this Grazioso Salvare company so that people can go in and search for, specifically in this case, it's dogs that we're interested in because it's rescue operations. We have to provide a product for people to find animals who are good at particular rescue operations. And they've already, the subject matter experts at Grazioso Salvare have already provided the parametrics for that. Certain breeds of dogs, certain intact genders between certain ages. Basically, that's what they're looking for. So they've already provided all that. So all you have to do is transform that information into a query based on these choices that you're going to offer people up here. Now, you don't have to use radio buttons. You could use a drop down. You can use buttons, regular buttons, anything you want, whatever looks good to you. But as soon as they change this, you see it's going to repopulate the table with this new filter. This is going to show only animals that would be good candidates for jobs in mountain and wilderness rescue. And here, only animals that would be good candidates for disaster and individual rescue. And then we can reset and get everything. Now, by everything here, since all of these rescue categories they're always looking for dogs and not cats. So everything means all the dogs. And if you select everything, you can see what that does to your pie chart down here. It's the legend. There's so many different breeds in here that the legend takes up more space than the chart. So let's go back here, for example. And then on the other extreme, we have water rescue. Apparently the only breed of dog in the database that would be a good candidate for water rescue is the Labrador Retriever mix. Now, the query lists several different breeds of female that would be good for this, but apparently that's the only one of those that we have in the database. So this is 100%. And that's awfully small there. That chart, let's take a look. Yeah. Okay, well that's sort of a little bug there. I don't know if you notice what's going on, but if I go to reset so that it shrinks down the size of the pie chart because of the size of the legend, and then I go immediately over to water rescue, the size of the pie chart remains small. But if I go to one of these other groups, that increases the size of the pie chart. And then I go back to water rescue. We get a bigger pie chart. It's still 100% Labrador mix, but you get the idea. So I will leave that as an exercise for you if you're interested in taking a look at fixing that. But that's it. So let's go ahead and look at the code. And as I mentioned, everything else works the same as it did in Module 6. You've got the table populating the same. You select a row, single select. Now I did take a look at this. Okay. If anything is selected, then, but when the chart comes in, when you first open up the application, it's going to pre-select the first row in the table, and we didn't do that in Module 6. So that's something that you don't have to do that, but I did it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the code. Now, here is the code in the callback for the radio buttons. As you can see, this is just checking. Each of those radio buttons has a filter type associated with it. So the water rescue, that's filter type water. So if the filter type is water, then we're looking for Labrador Retriever mix or Chesapeake or Newfoundland. And you see these are all OR conditions here. And we're doing the regex search because it could pick up additional rows that might be overlooked with a simple search if these words are interwoven with other text or maybe not contiguous. The regex should go ahead and pick it up. Not so with a simple search. It would have to be just that. Would have to be an exact match. So we're looking for an OR condition here, and then and sex upon outcome intact female, and age between 26 and 156 weeks. And the same thing here with if it's a mountain rescue dog we're looking for, then it's the same construction. Basically, we're just looking for different sex upon outcome and different set of breeds. It looks like the age is the same. And same thing here. The main thing that changes is the possibly the sex, the age, or the breeds. Same type of construction in either case. And then finally, if it's a reset, then it falls under the else category, and you're just going to go back and retrieve all of the dogs. So as we're removing the filter at that point, except for the filter on dogs. Let's see what else. Okay, now in your sample code, they gave you, I think they literally give you this commented out as an example of what you might do. Well, I decided to go ahead and use the pie chart because if you're going to use bar charts or something like that, we need something that's going to take up a fixed amount of space. That pie chart, the divisions within the pie are going to get smaller or larger, but the chart itself should remain the same size. As we saw earlier, it doesn't necessarily, but it shrinks in certain situations. But it's not going to just expand as your breeds expand. Now the legend is what seems to expand, but anyway, there's a little more chance that we're going to have something that takes up a fixed amount of space regardless, with a pie versus a set of bars. So that's why I did this. But you're welcome to use any kind of chart you want. So that's the chart. That's new. This is new. The filter. And I believe they gave you this in the sample. The map was already on there in Module 6. And here we have the graph. Your table layout should be roughly the same. Now here are your radio items for the filters. Radio items, and again, as I said, you don't have to use radio items. You could use buttons or drop down, combo box, anything you want. So we just have the label and the value. So this value, as I said, this is what gets evaluated down in the callback, and then the filter gets set based on these values. And as you can see, it defaults to reset, which means no filter. Now, I went ahead, I noticed initially that my first radio button was off. The radio button itself was, I could see the label, but I couldn't see the radio button to check it because it was so far over to the left. It was just out of sight, and I couldn't seem to scroll over to the left far enough to actually see it. So I added a margin around the main div in the HTML. In my style, let's see, no, I think this is the sample that they gave us here. So let's take a look. Okay, so anyway, so I added the style and display flex margin 10 pixels. So it's going to have a 10 pixel margin all around, and so everything's going to be in view. You're not going to have things sliding off of the screen. And then so we have some children here. We have the image, the PNG image. Now, if you notice, I gave it a style as well. The image, the original size, it's going to be huge, and it's going to take up, half of your visible page, your HTML page. So I scaled it down to 5% of the original size, and it looks pretty good. I mean, it looks plenty big enough to me. If you want to make it bigger, fine. But I was thinking in terms of how can I get a screenshot of everything when all you see is the dog, and so I scaled it down to 5%, and that's height and width. You want those to be the same, otherwise it's going to be a distorted image. So let's see now, where did I, so that's it. I a margin around everything, the main div, and then I scaled down the size of the logo. You might keep that in mind. And now here is where we initially bring in the image. We read it from the file system. It's base 64 encoded. So we just define. Now also in the image they provide, they have spaces between these three logical words here: Grazioso, Salvare, logo. I really don't like spaces in file names. I guess it comes from working for many years when you couldn't do that, and it just still doesn't seem right. So I don't like to do that. And besides that, if you search for something, then if you've got spaces and file names anywhere in your search path, you have to put quotes around the whole thing, and it's just a pain. So anyway, I replaced my spaces with underscores. So that's if I wanted to tell you that, so in case you see this and try to literally do this without changing the file name, it's not going to find your file. So either take the underscores out here or rename your image such that the spaces are replaced with underscores. So that's pretty much it. Everything else up here is just like it was in Module 6. You do have a few more imports possibly up here. Be sure and take that. I would go ahead and get the sample that they gave you for Module 7, and then put all of your work weave all of your work from Module 6 into that and start from there. And then just, yeah, by the way, I know two things that seem to be plaguing folks in Module 5 was the port. I think we've got that worked out. Everybody is going to have a different port number. But also I noticed some people were having trouble connecting, and I saw that they had lowercase AAC. Now, I know when I imported the database from that CSV file, I ended up with a database with uppercase AAC for the name, and I think a lot of you did too. And so be aware of that, because what I did when people were having trouble, I went back and looked at their 5-1 submission, and sure enough, they were using uppercase AAC, and it was no problem. The connection was no problem. But then in the 5-2 assignment, I believe it was. Anyway, in a subsequent assignment, using the same database, the people who were having connection issues were using lowercase AAC for the database name. And so just be aware of little things like that. So anyway, let's take another look at this. But that's I've in your announcement, I've given you some code snippets and some hints to help you. So I would definitely do the readings, take the quiz. You might want to just go ahead and take the quiz. I would do it in that order: do the readings, take the quiz, and then get started on your implementation of the Project 2 dashboard. Because anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun, and this is a big week, so just relax and have fun, enjoy it, and I'll see you next week.